Good morning. My name is Myron Bedford. I am a manual osteopath at Bedford Integrative Therapeutic Services. I would like to teach to you today a very interesting technique that I've been using in the clinic very successfully with any number of my clients. It is called Position of Ease Movement Meditation. Basically, I'm teaching you the poem of your body and how you can use that poem to help unwind and reduce the normal aches and pains and general stresses that can occur as a result of improper posture, working conditions, any other number of situations. Position of Ease Movement Meditation is the body's self-corrective mechanism summed up in 4 basic ideas. The first one is to observe the area of concern, the area that you want to work on. The second one is to move, and how you do that is simply ask the body, where do you want to go? The third is move until you hit the balance point. Now the body does something very interesting here, and that is actually will stop you when it reaches the point of balancing. The last part of it is the release, and the release typically occurs about 30 to 45 seconds after the balance point, at which point the connective tissue releases, the nervous system allows it to, and we move on from there either into another unwinding or movement, or it will bring you back to a neutral position, which would be the end of that particular set or scenario. So what I'd like to do is just run you through the basic requirements that would be needed in order to be able to do position of ease. What you're looking for is enough space to be able to move freely without worrying about knocking over a plant or kicking a cat or something like that. Then what you're looking for is you want to be in something that you can move around in. Loose fitting clothing, whether it's yoga or whatever else is comfortable for you. And then the last thing is be willing and open to try and to learn. The interesting thing about this is it's going to be developing a new neural pathway because you've never done it before. That's okay. The big thing with this is do it without prejudice. Don't let the mind say, oh, this is stupid, this is foolish, this isn't going to work. It will. The body actually does use its own self-corrective mechanism incredibly well, and I have seen this used many times both in my clinical practice as well as personally. So, step 1 of this particular adventure or modality is to observe. Now what I'd like to do is I'll run you through the basics of this as I'm doing it myself. So in this situation, I'm going to observe my right wrist. Now, as a manual therapist, we typically have issues with wrists, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do is focus on the wrist. And what I want you to do to start with is notice the present symptoms of it. Is it achy? Does it throb? Is there a pinch? Is there anything that is out of the normal for what you're experiencing or where you want to get to? The reason you're doing this is to be able to give yourself a baseline of symptoms now to symptoms once you're done. Okay, so in this situation I have just a little bit of an ache through the right wrist, right through here. So my observation of that is just simply notice it. I'm not going to create judgment on that. I'm not going to say, oh, that's intense. I'm just noticing. Okay, this is the observe part of the body, and this can be anywhere. This can be a neck, this can be a low back, this can be an ankle, it can be a toe. It doesn't matter where it is. Just bring your body's awareness to that part of your body. And once you have that, then you move on to the movement portion. So the movement portion of the exercise starts with both an understanding of the mind's role in this as well as the body's. So what you're going to do is ask the body, using the mind, where do you want to go? What is the easiest path for you to use or to go down? Okay, The body is looking not necessarily to go into pain in this situation as much as it is just trying to manipulate or use the autonomic nervous system to create optimal balance through the area. Now, it may start with local, and it may move into a regional, and it may even move global into your entire body. The effects of it, because you're using the autonomic nervous system, will be into a full body scenario. So the question I'm asking using the mind at this point is, where do you want to go? And usually you're going to feel or think of, okay, well, the first thing's going to happen is gravity's going to pull it. So that's usually correct. We'll let the gravity take it. But then from there, if you let the mind become the observer and just let the body move and shift, you'll find that the body will move past where gravity pulls it, and it'll just start to move into any number of different movement patterns. And it may move into a repeating pattern. It may move into any number of different motions. This is where it becomes fascinating and why the movement itself can become a meditation, because if the mind becomes the observer, you allow the body to shift and move regardless of whether the mind is in control of it or not. And it's preferable that the mind isn't. The mind observes and goes, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know it was going to do that. But without judgment. The second part to this is path of least resistance. Is literally where you want the limb or area of the body to go. Where does it feel like it has the least amount of resistance to go to? So if you feel like you're moving, but it feels like there's some part of it that is just wanting to hold or not let you go into it, see if there's a different area. Let it move to where it wants to go. Yeah, it's moving into a whole bunch of different motions. The trick here is don't let the mind judge it. This is without prejudice. Just let the body move. Because if you try to judge what's going on using your mind is going to say, oh, this is foolish. Stop it. And the body will listen. If you actually say that, the body will say, okay, we'll stop. But you miss the benefit of the motion. Okay? Now you can stop this at any point in time. Just regain the voluntary muscle control using the mind, and you'll be done. But that's not necessarily where we want to go with the position of ease and the movement meditation. Okay? And it will continue to do this until it reaches what's known as the balance point, and that'll be what we go into next. And this is just about to hit the balance point, and there it is there. So the balance point is where the body stops moving and is in a fascial balance, or basically this is where the autonomic nervous system has taken the body to as its way of releasing. Okay? Once you're in that position, the trick with the balance is don't overthink it. Once you're there and it's stopped, just hold the stop point. A lot of people, when they get to this point in their release, will go, oh, it stopped, we're done. And they'll come out of it before they actually get to the release point. The release point is typically 30 to 45 seconds after the balance. So don't sell yourself short and start moving again, or move out of the balance too early. Wait. Okay? When it actually releases, and there it goes there, it will do one of two things. It will either move you back into the movement portion, saying, okay, I want to do another one of those because I didn't quite finish it, or it will move into a stop point. And the stop is basically, it will bring you back to a neutral position and stop moving altogether, at which point the body says, okay, I've reached where I want to go to with this particular point or this particular body part at this time. It doesn't mean that other parts of the body don't have areas that they could move into or do. It's just at this point in time, it means that that one's finished. But that is the release section of this. The big thing with the release is because it's autonomic, you can experience it anywhere in the body. The fascial system is connected all the way through the body. The autonomic nervous system knows that. I've seen forearms release hips. I've seen ankles release jaws. There are any number of different things that can happen when the body has that ability to move to and release. So once you've gone through the exercise, observe, move, balance, and release. And the more that you practice it, the more you get familiar with it and comfortable with it, such that you're not judging the process. You'll get to a point where you can start to use it in any different area of the body, whether it's a full body standing session or whether you're laying down and you have a specific area of concern, whether it's a hip, a knee, an ankle, it doesn't matter. You can also use it at work even. You have 5-10 minutes, sit back at your desk. If it's a wrist that's bothering you, run through the movement with the wrist. There's nothing saying that you can't do this basically anywhere. That's the joy of it. The only challenge with it is it does take anywhere from 30 seconds to 15 minutes. So just set aside that time, whether it's a break time, whether it's a water break, or wherever you're at. Just make sure you have enough time so that you don't feel rushed in it, because then the mind will want to take over and to stop the process. Okay? A couple of tips or things that will make the process a little bit easier. Start locally. So if you're thinking of, oh, I want to do this all the way through the body, that's great, but start locally. The body, when it gets to the point that it wants to do something global, will actually take you into a global release. So you can start with a wrist, and it may move to the elbow and the shoulder. It may stop you at the shoulder, or it may take you into the full body. Don't worry about it. Start simple. It's easier to start simple and to get the feel of it and to get the understanding of what that's doing inside the body than to start global and overshoot some of your balance points. Okay? The second tip is move slow. I've seen this happen way too often where someone will start and they'll just keep going in the same pattern and same pattern and same pattern. Like, is this ever going to end? That's the mind starting to put judgment on the process. Slow it down. And what you'll find is by then focusing on the slowing down with the mind, the body will be able to move back into its process and back into a different movement until it hits that balance. Okay? The last point, and I can't stress this one enough, is don't let the mind take over. If the mind takes over, then it'll say, well, this is the pattern that it's created. I'm just going to follow that pattern. The body doesn't necessarily do that. The body will move through a pattern a few times, and then it'll jump into a different area or different movement. The other part is we tend to think, oh, was that a release? Was that a stop point? Was that the balance? The body will let you know, because the body will stop. It will tell you when you are done. Okay? With that, we sum up the introductory portion of the Position of Ease movement meditation. I will be doing seminars with this. I will also have available sessions where you can come in and we will actually do one-on-one or one with group. I'll do it with groups as well. So I look forward to seeing you, and I really hope that this is able to change your body to be able to get to a point where you can be very comfortable with yourself, just in general activities of everyday life. I know it's made a huge difference for myself because I don't, as a manual therapist, I don't get to be worked on myself very much, and this has saved me just an immense amount of time and money because I want you to be able to use this, especially in today's economy. All right? Have yourself a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you at either one of the courses or in some of the advanced lectures where I go into more of the details of how and why this works, as well as some of the other body parts.